Okay, so we are starting a new series today. We are looking at what we call bivariate data analysis. And in this video, we're going to be looking at constructing what we call a bivariate scatterplot. Now, in order to understand this, we have to break down this new word bivariate. This word basically means, the two parts of it, bi means two. So for example, if something happens biannually, it happens 2 times a year. And the word variate sounds like the word variable. So a variable in data is something we're trying to measure, data we're collecting about a particular thing. Now previously we looked at what we called single variable data. So here we had something like a dot plot where we had like a number of cars, for example, and we collect data and we put in how much each is represented here. So maybe a 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, and we looked at collecting these along just a horizontal axis. When we look at bivariate data, we are basically looking at these scatter plots compare two data variables. Now an example of this is shown below. We have something down here in which we have a height data collected from a bunch of people that measures not just one variable but 2. So we have their height in centimeters and their arm span in centimeters. Now each of these pairs are going to make up points on a plane. So in a similar way to when we graphed things in linear relationships, these are all just going to be points. So when we construct one of these scatter plots, we're going to make 2 axes this time. So I've gone ahead and drawn this here. We have on our horizontal axis our height in centimeters, and on our vertical one our arm span in centimeters. Now what I've drawn here, you may be looking at these little weird squiggly lines that I've done here. This means a broken scale. So basically, when we want to just start at 0 but jump up to any value, instead of doing these little increments, to get from 0 to 150 is going to take a long time. So we include a broken scale to indicate that we are jumping somewhere else, but without changing the actual scale and difference between our little increments here. So 150, 160, 170. We're going up in tens, but the broken scale tells us that we're just jumping ahead. So if we wanted to plot some of these on here, we're going to look at our first one. So 172 for both. So we're going to start at 172, draw up, and we're going to do this along both axes until these meet at a particular point. We're going to do the same for 159, 162. And we just draw along until these two meet. Now, eventually, you can pause this video and have a go at completing this on your own, but we should get something that looks like this. Now, this is what we call a bivariate scatter plot. It has all these points plotted, and we see them scattered all along our plane. Now, you can see in this corner I've circled in red, they've just started, because this is screenshotted from a textbook, from 150 in this corner. It's usually better practice to start from 0, because that's what we're used to normally, and then just draw in the broken scale and start from wherever you want. But here we have what's called a bivariate scatterplot. And later on, we're going to be looking at how to interpret this and what this thing can tell us about how two variables relate to one another. But so far, this is all we are doing in this video. We are drawing our 2 axes. Here we had arm span and height, which show our 2 variables, and then we just plot in our points. Once we do that, we have our bivariate scatter plot, which we can analyze later. But that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.